This course is designed to help you learn skills and techniques you can use while handling your service customers and any concerns they may have. When you've finished this course, you'll understand how to use basic communication skills during each one of the customer touch points to avoid creating customer dissatisfaction. You'll understand active listening skills and be able to apply them to each touch point to improve your customer's experience and satisfaction. You'll also understand how to help dissatisfied customers by diffusing conflict. In addition, you'll understand key performance improvement best practices for each of the customer touch points. Developing strong communication skills can help you perform better in your job and when talking with your customers. Communicating effectively also helps you avoid misunderstandings so you can take care of your customers' concerns. Some of the basic communication skills you need are the ability to first establish credibility and trust. Trusting the other person helps move the conversation along. During difficult conversations, you must remember to breathe so you can stay calm. People sometimes tend to hold their breath when they're having a disagreement during a conversation. You must also stay in the here and now and not go back to something that happened before. If it's still an issue, talk about it in another conversation. Truly listening to what the other person is saying shows respect and can help you empathize with them. Whatever you do, don't be defensive. Use personal statements that allow you to share your feelings, such as, "I feel frustrated when I don't have any input." During some difficult conversations, it may be best to revisit the issue at another time when emotions are not as high. Remember, it's not about winning, so resist the desire to always be right. Stay on track with the conversation and avoid going off onto other topics. If there is a disagreement, take responsibility for your part and not place blame. Each of these skills is covered in this course. Communication is based on both parties establishing and maintaining trust. Be upfront and don't have hidden agendas during any conversation. If you want others to take you seriously, avoid emotional ups and downs. Be consistent when you talk with customers and others in your department. When you make a commitment, be sure to carry through as promised. In other words, your words and actions must match. Always listen more than you talk so you can understand the other person's point of view. When you do talk, be respectful and sincere. Always, always tell the truth, no matter how you feel your customer may react. People trust you more easily when they feel you're being truthful. It's usually better to promise less and then deliver more than the other way around. Others can trust you when they think you're keeping their best interests in mind. If you give your opinion on something, remember it's not fact, so be ready to accept the other person's opinion as well. Sometimes when a conversation becomes stressful, you may start holding your breath. This is especially true when anger or fear is stirred up during the discussion. You must make a conscious effort to keep breathing while you're talking because it helps keep your emotions steady. When your emotions are steady, it's easier for you to stay focused on the conversation. A way to avoid conflict during communication is to stay in the here and now by remaining on the current topic. Unless it's part of the conversation, do not bring up previous events that can cause a negative reaction. Always focus on areas of agreement to establish common ground and build rapport. When disagreements do arise, discuss solutions that can be acceptable to both you and your customer. During communication with others, actively listen to what is being said. Remember to use positive body language, since this can also communicate what you're thinking. Your words must match what the other person sees, so keep that in mind when you're in a conversation with customers and people you work with. Avoid thinking about your response while someone else is talking, or waiting for them to say something you can jump on. If you're thinking about what you're going to say, you're not listening completely. Always try to understand the other person's point of view, even if it's one you don't agree with. Imagine how you would feel if you were in their situation. Paraphrase or repeat back what was said to show you understand what the other person was saying. This can help you build trust once they know you listened to what was being said.
Sometimes it's necessary for you to put yourself in your customer's place by empathizing with them. Empathy is showing you understand what they may be feeling. Sympathy is feeling pity or sorrow for what they may be feeling. Showing empathy with statements such as, "Given the circumstances, I would feel the same way," or "I can understand you being unhappy," can help relax an unhappy customer. Take time to understand what is really making the other person upset. Remember to make sure your posture and expression match to show you're listening. When you do speak, use I statements to clearly state your feelings. Stay focused and connected on the current issue, stating what should happen next. An example of an I statement would be, "I feel frustrated when we plan and I don't have a say. I want us both to have input." This statement clearly states you feel frustrated, while also saying what you want to have happen.
Customers can become angry at times, but you must remain professional and not get angry yourself or become defensive. Becoming angry and arguing with your customer doesn't solve the situation and only creates hard feelings and resentment. The best way to avoid becoming defensive is to just simply listen first, then ask questions rather than reacting. Asking a question like, "What would we need to change for you to feel comfortable with?" Or, "How about if we do this?" If you ask questions in a calm and respectful way, your customer must consider an answer rather than continuing to be angry. The purpose is to get the customer talking, so keep asking more questions to find out what the customer really wants. Once the customer tells you what they want, get them to agree to what was discussed, then proceed to act as quickly as possible.
From time to time, you may have a disagreement with a customer that cannot be quickly and pleasantly resolved. In that case, it may be best to revisit the issue at some other less stressful time. This may happen when someone else at your shop needs to get involved but is not immediately available, such as your manager, owner, or business principal. If that happens, let your customer know that you're going to need help finding a solution and set a time with them to discuss the matter again. Stepping back from a confrontation can help you think things over and discuss the situation with senior management. Make sure to follow through and fulfill any commitments made to your customer.
When you have a disagreement with a customer or a person you work with, avoid the temptation to prove you're right. Remember the issue and stick to discussing what's important rather than who is right and who is wrong. If you insist on being right, you can risk insulting the other person as they may think you're making it personal. We all have ideas on how to handle certain situations, but others may not see things the same way. Trying to convince someone else that your way is the only right way to view the situation can lead to an argument and maybe even damage the relationship. Always remain focused on finding a solution to the disagreement and let go of the need to prove you're right. When there's a disagreement, stay on track by remaining on the topic. Don't become confused by going off into other events. Unless something that happened before has an impact on the current conversation, don't bring it up. If you do, it can create more conflict, especially if the previous event left something unresolved. Confusing the current conversation with other topics can mean it takes longer to find a solution. The longer it takes to resolve the disagreement, the more difficult it may be to find the right solution. Most of all, be responsible for your part in the disagreement. Responsibility starts with you. If the dispute was caused by a mistake you made, accept the blame and apologize as soon as possible. Nothing goes further to help resolve a dispute than admitting it was a result of errors or mistakes you made. If you admit your part in the conflict, it may help the other person think about their part as well. Once that happens, it can become easier to find a solution acceptable to both sides of the issue.